All right, we're good. All right, guys, welcome everyone. We appreciate you guys watching. As always, we got Ted. We have Budget Bug Out, and the Alabama Owens will not be joining us tonight. We do have one more guy coming up, hopefully soon. The first thing I wanted to do was I don't know if everybody's aware, but 31. I believe they were Navy SEALs or military guys. 31 guys got killed this week in Afghanistan. They were doing some type of operation and some type of helo accident. I don't know. We don't know all the details other than what we read in what I read on Google. There's not too much information on it, but which it's kind of crazy. 31 guys get killed, and we don't see that too much. But with that being said, I want to let everybody know to pray for the families and pray for the guys, the military members that died. And I mean, it's just an unfortunately event, but I mean, it happens sometimes. So I picked the Bible verse that I picked today is a Bible verse very common. Everybody knows this. John 3:16, and it says, "For God so loved the world that He gave His one and only Son, that whoever believes in Him should not perish, from have eternal life." So pretty much that's the promise that we got. As Christian, you believe in God and Jesus, and He has your back. We only going to be in this world for so long until we go into the next one, and that's what I believe. With that being said, just a quick intro, Ted.
Hi, I'm Ted. I'm one of the primaries on the AMFAW Channel. Yeah, that's me. Just overweight and need to shave. That's all.
Got it. Budget, you overweight too?
No, the Air Force won't let me be overweight and stay in.
I seriously doubt that, right, Ted?
Yeah, I've seen some of those guys, and
well, maybe in previous years, but with the drawdown, they're really cutting back. But hey, I'm Budget Bug Out. I'm active duty Air Force, and yep, I'm just a contributor to the AMFAW, and I like Jesus, and I like prepping, and I like survivalism. And yeah, I like doing this kind of things and talking with y'all.
That is by far one of the best intro you have done since I met you. That was very good, very good.
Yeah, it was better.
All right, so today we got a lot of points, a lot of things to talk about. If you guys got any questions, put it in the comments. We're gonna try to address those questions, but pretty much we're going to talk about active shooter or active shooting situations, because I mean, it seems like every month or every 2 months we get one, and everybody knows that we just had one in Fort Hood in Texas. Whatever, some guy went inside and shot, I believe he killed, 3 guys? Ted, you know how many he was in total?
Yeah, 3 and 16 wounded, I think.
Yeah, 3. So there's a lot of talk about it. So one of the biggest talk that I've been listening to in the last 2 days is about military guys having CCWs inside the base. And I know I put a couple of videos out about it already, because every time I go inside the base, I have to leave my gun in the house. I mean, you cannot bring a weapon inside the Marine Corps installation. If you do, you're probably gonna go to jail. Well, actually, you will go to jail. They don't play around with that. So with that being said, what do you guys think? You guys think that CCW, like military members, should be allowed to have weapons and carry the weapons CCW inside the base? You probably got some of that, Mark. Budget.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I've seen some of these guys shoot. I've been at the shooting range next to them, so maybe not some of the people, but yeah, the way I feel about CCW is the more and more I learn about where gun-related incidents, shootings and such happen, it seems to be that they like to be around gun-free areas. I'm not sure if that's clicking with anybody else, but people seem to think that whenever you say no guns allowed, that criminals who are planning on killing people are going to not kill people because of a sign that says no guns allowed. So basically it's only stopping people like me and like y'all who are law-abiding citizens from being able to defend themselves. So whether it be base or other locations, I can't think of too many the locations that I wouldn't want to conceal carry. That's how I feel.
The thing about it, and I'm just talking from the Marine Corps side, specifically this base here. I worked there as a police officer, and not only as a police officer, but I worked there as a patrol supervisor. So I had 10 different patrol units under me, and however many entry control points we had. So what I'm trying to say is that I'm pretty well aware on the tactics and what they do, and they have a pretty good system. This DoD basis, we could criticize it as much as we want. A lot of people do, and I'm sure Fort Hood has the same thing. They have a pretty good system. They have guys that are trained, because the military has a lot of money. These guys are trained, and probably Ted could talk a little bit more because he was in the Army, but they train, they know what they're doing. A lot of these guys are young kids. You see a lot of the police officers nowadays, and they're overweight, and you know what I'm saying. You like think, how the heck this guy is a police officer? But the DoD MPs are young kids, military members that are in shape, and they know how to use weapons. So the point that I'm trying to make is that if it happens in these locations, it's going to happen anywhere. You know what I'm saying? That's where I was going with it.
Well, they don't search every vehicle that comes on those bases. I mean, you gotta, you're issued a decal. It goes in the windshield of your car. I mean, you guys all know that. And when you pull up to the gate, that MP's standing there at the gate, and they're going to do a random search on X amount of vehicles, but they're not going to search every vehicle. They're going to question you politely. There's a good chance that guy, they had seen him go in and out and in and out. I mean, you got to bear in mind, though, that Fort Hood is the largest military base in the United States. Surface base. And so,
well, I definitely want to talk about. I like to talk about his issue, because I'm sure it was some type of failure in the command at one point. And I want to say a couple of things on that. But the thing that kills me is specifically with the CCW is that we trust this guys to go to combat. I mean, and Ted, you probably, you carry a lot of guns, just like I did. But at one point, I carry an M4 with a 203. I had AT4. I had a pistol. I had a shotgun. I had 4 or 5 guys under me. Every single one was highly with a lot of weapons. We had a Mark 19 that shot grenades. We had M67 grenades. We had rounds. I mean, the amount of stuff that we have is unbelievable. But you don't trust these kids to carry a Glock 19 with 15 rounds inside the base. You know what I'm saying? It makes no sense to me.
Well, I know that they were prohibited even back in the days before. I mean, back in the 80s, I know. If you lived in the barracks, you didn't have a firearm in the barracks, period, ever. Because, I mean, let's look at it realistically.
No, it's still like that, Ted. It's still like that.
Well, but most soldiers, airmen, sailors, Marines, are young folks who are home away from home for the first time ever.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of get that college dorm mentality right there when they first get in there. They go a little bit out of the box for about the first year and a half, 2 years. And they drink and they fight and they get out and they act up. And that's the last thing you need on that base is a firearm. I kind of see the need for a little bit of a little bit of gun control on these bases, especially around young folks who are suffering, from PTSD. Would a concealed carry have had prevented this, or would more people with guns created more of this? I mean, there's two sides of that coin.
Yeah. Well, and Stone Guy is here. Welcome, brother.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
You want to do a quick intro?
Yeah, well, it's Stone Guy 223. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Appreciate you guys having me on. I do I got a small channel. Just do some random stuff, some ammo tests, some competition shooting, and some live chats. And I'll be doing a giveaway at 2,000 subs. I'm at about 1,850 right now, so
cool.
Stay tuned for that.
Definitely. Well, I got to tell you, man, and this is a lot of times we have the wrong. I like what you said, Ted, and a lot of times people think because you're in the military, you have weapon, and we need to understand that not every military guy is an expert on weapons. Unless you're an infantryman or you are part of a combat MOS, I've met guys in the military that have no idea how to use a pistol. And I'm not gonna talk bad on the Navy or anything, but I train guys in the Navy. Is it true? When I was in a ship for 6 months, and we went down
they
to
put Marines on those ships, so them guys don't have to know how to use guns.
Yeah, the Navy guys. We used to say, hey, thanks for the ride. The Navy guys will give us a ride. And I'm not saying all the Navy guys. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of Navy guys that know a lot about weapons. But you looking at MOS as like, right, yeah. But look at MOS as like the post office, administration, things like that. Even in the Marine Corps, a guy that is working the postal touch a rifle once a year for qualification for 2 weeks. Other than that, he doesn't touch his rifle never again. But so yeah, I get that, Ted. And the problem with that is that, and if you ever done any physical security and vulnerability assessments and things like that, the commanders, and this is what the commanders are doing, are looking at this situation and are saying, all right, what are the risks of getting an active shooter situation in the base? And they're coming out with a percentage, and then they base that percentage versus what is the risk of people getting shot. And then most likely you're going to have more NDs than actually an active shooter situation. There's more chances of a Marine shooting himself than actually having an active shooter situation. And because of that is the truth, they are going to take that risk. And that's what they do. And they do it all the time. Police officers, they do it in combat. I seen it in combat.
Well, Jen just posted up that, when she was in the Air Force, back in the day, probably in the 90s, that she'd fired an M16 for 2 hours in basic training and never saw another one after that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that's one of those things that commanders are taking that risk. You know what I'm saying? They are going to. I saw a video today on YouTube from some general in the Army, and he was saying that the initial recommendation, and he was talking to Ted Cruz from Texas, his initial recommendation was no. Why? Because they're going to take the risk. They're going to take that risk. So hopefully me and you are not in the base and they don't get shot. I barely go to the base anymore. I stay in my side of the town.
Well, I think that general had made reference to the fact of, I want to say it was him that made reference to the fact of soldiers that come back and maybe aren't fully in the, acclimated to being back stateside, that, they still have some issues and having that extra buffer of not being able to have a firearm is maybe the time they need to acclimate themselves.
Yeah. Well, the thing about that, Stone, is that two seconds before that, they had a firearm in combat. I mean, they carry a firearm the whole time until they got to the United States. And then we need to. I get it. You come from combat and you trigger happy. Anything that happens, you're gonna flip. I get it. So you need that time, but I don't know, man. I don't want to give away my gun.
Oh,
I went.
I'm with you on that. I think it's, and it's the problem I have with it is that it's, it's always, whether it's military or law enforcement or politics or any issue. There's it's always like a cut and dry blanket rule that applies to everybody, and I think that's where the problem lies. Instead of taking it on a case by case or an individual by individual basis, they like to give a blanket statement or a blanket rule that applies to everybody, and I think that's where it needs to be changed.
And here's something else talking about CCW, and this happened to me. If you are active duty, and I don't know if Budget, if you got anything, if you know anything about this, but in the Marine Corps, or I don't know if it's in the entire Marine Corps, but here in North Carolina, if you active duty, the sheriff actually requires you to have more paperwork.
Yes.
So not only you have to do everything that Stun or Ted would do as a civilian now, or myself as a civilian now, but you also have to do your a letter of recommendation and paperwork from the Marine Corps recommending you to get a gun. The problem with that is that in the state of North Carolina, it's not like Florida. You could go down there, buy a gun, 3 days later they give it to you. In this state, you have to have a permit to buy a weapon, a pistol, a handgun. So even though if you want to get that pistol, that handgun, you still have to get the paperwork from your command. So if your command says, hey, you know what, you're a young Marine, E3, E4, we don't want to give you a gun, then you're not going to get a gun, and that's it. And I understand, and I tell you what, I see these generals here on TV saying, well, we're trying to take care of Marines, or we're trying to take care of military guys. I was a senior Marine. I wasn't a young Marine. I was a senior Marine. And I'm telling you right now, sometimes they will not give him the paperwork just because they don't like the guy. I know that happens.
Yeah, it's a
possibility. I witnessed that happen. So I don't like Budget, and because Budget is a junior Marine to me, I will not recommend his paperwork. So now I straight up violated his Second Amendment right of carrying a weapon. It happens all the time.
No. You haven't really violated it. He gets to carry a weapon. You just get to decide which weapon he gets to carry.
Oh, yeah, because now he can only buy a rifle or a shotgun. He can buy a handgun.
He can only carry the weapons you want him to carry. So
A whistle.
Yeah, the ones issued to him.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
That's what I posted a kind of a troll comment one time on one of those open carry guys, who were doing it just to get YouTube hits. You could tell they just really wanted to be on YouTube. They wanted to do something controversial, and they're kind of challenge these local police officers with this open carry thing. And they had their well-rehearsed, well-practiced, spiel about, did I do something wrong? Am I breaking a law? You know how they do. And I'm thinking, and the cop is really trying to maintain his composure because the kid just has douchebag written all over his head.
I just bought this AR in Walmart 10 minutes ago.
and I don't know. I told him on the comment over there that if you, rather than sitting outside the police department with a weapon, why don't you go right next door to the recruiter's office? They'll let you carry a machine gun and pay you for it.
That was a good one.
Yep.
You don't have to prove anything.
Yeah.
I had a big issue when I got out and I had to stop buying ammo for fun. Because I remember shooting 2,000 rounds like it was cool. It sucks buying your own ammo.
Yeah, when the military's giving it to you, it's a little easier.
Yeah, I remember having trucks and trucks and trucks of 50 cal, and to the point that you just don't want to shoot anymore. You're just tired of shooting 50 cal rounds. And
I remember pulling the pins on case after case after case of frags.
Oh.
They didn't want to turn them in.
So you could be reallocated the same amount next year.
We were pulling,
yeah.
We were pulling the pins and throwing them over the wall, just so they'll cook off.
Yeah. Stun is right in the money on that one.
Yeah. Now, while we're on this subject, because we know that this is this is all pretty much related to PTSD and combat fatigue and all those things that go along with these after action events. Now, in the days after World War I and World War II, we saw a spike in alcoholism. And we all know that alcoholism and violence toward children is generational. And I've never seen numbers on it, but I would be willing to bet that we see these guys come home from World War II with a drinking problem. They kind of want to slap the wife and the kids around when they're drinking. The kid sees that, kind of grows up, and that's where that kind of sparks. But no sooner is, the 1917's over, they come home, they have children, those children grow up. Well, guess what? Now it's 1941. Now it's 20 years later, and those same kids whose dad was in World War I are now experiencing this same thing in World War II. And then they come home, with a drinking problem. They learn how to be a man from the dad, and we're seeing this thing generational and generational. 1945, the war is over, and then right down the pipe, in the late 50s, early 60s, here comes Vietnam, and those baby boomers from World War II are now Vietnam era age, and again, and you understand, PTSD was not a diagnosed it wasn't a diagnosed disorder until the late 90s. Before then, they called it shell shock in World War I, for example, combat fatigue, and it was just a temporary disorder. They were going to treat these guys, they'd get them back to the rear, they'd de-stress them, unwind them a little bit, let them talk to the head doc, and put your flak jacket back on, get your M16, and get back on the line because that's where we need you. And they didn't have the infrastructure in place to deal with this stuff like they do now. I'm hoping we'll see a break in that trend of alcoholism and abuse that comes in the days following, in the years following, a major conflict. But I don't know if we're going to see the alcoholism taper off and drug dependency kind of kick in, because now they're throwing psych meds at these kids as quick as they can get them in their hands. And I'm watching the crosstalk right now in the YouTube chat, and I'm stunned and am very impressed with the crosstalk that's going on here about medicines and medications over here, because that's how my thought process is working right now along the same lines. It's like I'm thinking it and these guys are saying it and typing it in the chat box. So it's very real. It has very real consequences. The suicide rate goes up in the days after a conflict. Returning soldiers have a higher suicide rate in the first 3 years than they have in after that. If they get through the first 3 years, their suicide rate drops. And a lot of that is, and there was a survivor's guilt, had a lot to do with that. They would see one of their buddies get killed or somebody they knew, and that survivor's guilt would wear on them along with depression and PTSD until they would take their own life. And it's very real. It's very much a trend, and we need to have very clear and very robust mental and medical screening for these folks when they get home from war, because it's not the same. It's a different world we live in. We have the technology and we have the capability and we have the understanding to be able to treat these kids, and I call them kids just because they're younger than me, most of them, but we have the ability to do that. We would be foolish to not reward them with the absolute best medical and mental treatment we could provide them for all they've done for us in return.
Yeah, but I mean, and the problem comes to there's a couple of issues when it comes to this, and we see this again. We see this general stalking, and oh yeah, we have all these plans, and they do. The VA has a lot of different programs out there to help. The Marine Corps has a lot of different programs. I mean, they even started a suicide class preventions and classes for the leaders, classes. I mean, as a staff NCO, E6s and above, we had to go into a different training just to be able to handle the young guys. So they do have all this different things. The problem is simple. You guys got, and you guys, Ted, know this, and you Stone, Budget, you guys know this. I talk about like military, Marine Corps platoon. You got guys there that have killed people. I mean, I had guys in my platoon. I was a platoon commander. I had 25 guys under me, 25 to 30 guys. Those guys have seen combat. You got guys that have killed 2, 3 guys. You got guys that ran against a house on fire to save the guys from dying. You got guys that shot. I mean, you got guys that typically people will see them and shake their hands and say thank you for serving a country. All that stuff that people do. Those guys don't complain, and if you complain, you get looked as the girl, because those guys are tough. So a lot of times those guys don't say anything. They just suck it up, suck it up, suck it up. Don't speak, because if you speak, you are the weak one. And you're talking about 21-year-old kids, 22-year-old kids. They don't want to speak. And then you go into the VA. The VA has all these great plans, but no one knows about it. Other than when something happened, the VA says, "Oh, we have this."
No, my problem with the VA is they act like they're doing you a favor when you go in there.
Oh, we need a whole hour for that one, Ted.
But you got the same people working in the VA that work in the post office, and at the risk of no, I'm not even gonna worry about that. You go in there and it seems like every time, and a friend of mine always uses this as, he says, every time you go to the post office, the Social Security office, or the VA, you never can get anything done until you see Miss Jackson, and Miss Jackson's always the supervisor, and she's always on lunch. And it's true. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And they go in there, and they've never served a day in the military, and they're put in charge of the care of returning combat veterans. People that need legitimate, and I think that's wrong. I think, if you put and let me put it this way, you put somebody who's all their neighbors and they grow up in a neighborhood where everybody's on welfare, and you put them to work at the welfare office, well, guess what? All the neighbors get welfare. I think that ought to be the same thing with the VA. You put returning veterans in there that want to go to work for the government and stay a government employee, a GS, and see how much. I think it ought to be a requirement to work at the VA that you have to have an honorable discharge from the military, and any branch, and then you'll see the level of care for these guys go up. A friend of mine, and I'm gonna call him by name, Jim Bokar. He's one of our guys, and he's been always here with me. He had stomach cancer not long ago. They found a little node in his stomach of cancer, and he had to request an appointment at the VA. He couldn't just go down and say, "Hey, I'm a former military, and I'm eligible for medical benefits. I want to get this cancer treatment." He had to request that, and he had to drive like 100 miles away to go get his treatment, and it was a whole thing, and. He struggles with PTSD, and he struggles, with all the things that go along with that. The insomnia, the nightmares, the irritability. Those of us around him that see that understand that's what it's about. That's what it is. But the folks that aren't used to seeing or don't know this guy's background, they think he was just kind of a quirky little guy, and he's not that. But I'm gonna kind of break it down for you, because Budget Bugout was asking me a little bit about him, by text yesterday. So he was 11 Bravo, got stationed in Germany, asked for and got selected to RIP, which in those days was a Ranger Indoctrination Program. He went through Ranger School, got into the BAT, and over the course of his career ended up with having to dispatch 35 human lives in the course of his duty. And there's very few people that will openly talk about it. And he got one time asked by a person who had no idea that that's not a question you ask, what his body count was. And but he didn't miss a beat and didn't blink an eye. And he said somewhere between Bosnia, Somalia, and Desert Storm, I figure somewhere in the neighborhood of 35 or 36, he said. And I'm talking about right down in your face, military, get it in the grass grunt. I mean, just as hard as woodpecker lips. And he, nicest guy you ever want to meet. Rooted in faith, give you the shirt off his back. Literally walked into my house yesterday and handed this to me. Put this thing in my hand. This is a 1959 National Match Colt 1911 that's in perfect condition. He bought that thing cash money and handed it to me because he knows I'm a collector. That's how close we are. And when I see folks like that getting mistreated by somebody who's never sat one day, at the foot of somebody's casket, draped in an American flag, it infuriates me that those people are in charge of his well-being and his health care. It infuriates me to the bone.
Yep.
I'm off my soapbox now. Sorry.
No, you're right, brother. People. It's just that people think it's easy. People think, oh, when they get out, the VA is going to help you.
Now, the VA is underfunded and unorganized, in my opinion. I mean, it baffles me how we can spend $600 million on a website that doesn't work, but we can't allocate funds for our veterans' benefits and health care. Makes no sense to me.
And it's like what Ted was talking about. They talk to you like they're giving you a favor. And I'm telling you from my experience, when I was medically retired. I had back surgery. And I remember walking into the VA office. I couldn't even walk after close to 12 years in the Marine Corps. And, 2 deployments to Iraq, 12 months in Afghanistan, 6 months on a ship in the middle of nowhere. And they treat me like I was asking for something. I'm asking you for anything, brother. I earned that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they treat you like you're in there seeking drugs, like you're one of those drug shoppers.
Like welfare program or something.
Exactly, and it's criminal. It is criminal to treat these folks who have dripped blood, for the American flag. It is criminal to treat them that way.
And here's something else too that, and we need a lot of this guys goes through to a lot of issues. Once you, and I don't know if we're in topic, but once you get broke, you're no longer good to the military. And I'm telling you from my experience, I mean I was highly decorated. I'm not gonna speak about Jarhead 6 or maybe made myself look like amazing or anything. But I was highly decorated as a Marine. And, like I said, I went to Iraq in 2003 during the war, not the after. I mean, when the president gave the order to attack Iraq, I was at the border waiting to cross over. I mean, we saw combat. And then I went back in 2004. I went back in 2006. I went in 2010 for 12 months. And I don't even know where I was going with this one. What we were talking about, Ted?
Talking about
we were talking about the loss of focus due to PTSD.
Oh yeah. So eventually, yeah. I think that's called TBI. So like I was saying, eventually, I got broke and I had back surgery. If you guys have back issues, once you have back surgery, you're done the rest of your life. No longer you're ever gonna be the same. And that's it. It was like you got broke, you have back surgery, you're no longer good. You no longer have a job. And legitimate, I didn't have a job. My only job was to call in or show up to work for months and just be there like, pretending that I was doing something. But I really didn't have a job because, you know what I'm saying? You're no good anymore. You can't run. You can't do combat. You can't do things like that. And I understand that. But what I'm trying to say is that a lot of guys have issues with that because they have rank, they have responsibilities, they have all this. They serve with Marines in combat. Now they're coming back, they're sergeant, they're training those guys for combat. And you take away their jobs, Marines take that seriously. Not Marines, military guys. They've been grow up to train guys for combat, and then you take away the job, and he's dealing with combat issues. And then he has no job and he gets treated bad. Or you put him in some crappy job like go and pick up the mail. And this guy used to be a squad leader, training Marines and leading Marines in combat, and now he's the mailman. So that creates a lot of issues as well.
Well, then they don't recognize those signs, especially in a line unit, infantry especially, combat arms. they come back, and you guys that kind of hit me on Facebook, you kind of know the rings I follow there. I'm following my old units around pretty close in the web on the Facebook, and you see these guys squared away troops, and I'm a prime example of that because I was squared away when I at the beginning, and there toward the end I barely got out. I got out ahead of a court martial. Almost. Luckily didn't, but it could have very easily went that way. They don't recognize that sometimes these guys are suffering on active duty. They don't see that decline. They just say, "Wow, what happened to him? He was squared away," and they don't try to find that root cause. They don't do that root cause analysis and try to drill down and find out what's wrong with this guy and kind of peel that onion back and help this guy get back in the game. And there was a lot of that, in my day, especially because they just throw you out. We were heavy. We were heavy in those days after Desert Storm, so they really did need a lot of troops. And just like the drawdown now, as soon as we're home from Iraq and starting to bring folks home from Afghanistan, the first thing they want to do is cut you loose. You're not doing me any good now. You're hurt. You're injured. You can't hump. You can't hike. You can't shoulder a weapon. I don't need you. There's 15 people waiting for your job, so you can move on, go deal with the VA, and we got it from here. There's no gratitude. There's no internal gratitude there at all.
The thing about that is that they do tell you that you get out. I was told this: get out and then deal with the VA as well. The problem that I forgot to tell you is that when you deal with the VA, it takes 12 months. They forgot to tell you, like, you put an application with the VA and it will take 12 months to a year, easy. So, and meanwhile, you don't know what to do. You have issues getting your medications. You have issues talking to people. And like I said, they do have places where you can go and talk to, but they don't tell you. So the basic guy that is dealing with PTSD, is dealing with, his buddies got killed in combat, this happened, this didn't happen, or whatever. He's not thinking about calling the 1-800 number, finding the location, and like Ted said, you may have to drive 50 to 100 miles to that location. He's not thinking about that.
You've got to request an appointment. You just don't call the VA and make an appointment. You call the VA and request an appointment, and they let you know when you're coming.
Yeah.
Hope you don't need anything right now.
I hope they answer the phone. I called the VA for like 2 weeks one time. 2 weeks.
Well, Miss Jackson was at lunch.
Yeah. I would have waited 2 hours in the phone, but nobody. It went straight up to like call back tomorrow, call back later. I can't remember exactly what the thing said, but just to give some conversation to Stone, because me and Ted are like talking. I'm
gonna shut up and listen.
Oh, this is good stuff, man.
Hey, Stone, what do you think about the whole PTSD thing and guys with CCW? I mean, I've met a lot of guys with some type of level of PTSD, but I don't think that we should say, well, if you ever been diagnosed with PTSD, you should not have a CCW, because I mean there are levels. I mean, there's guys that just have basic combat stress, and then they have guys that are seeing dead people kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, definitely. I don't think it should be as cut and dry as, who was it, Feinstein or Pelosi, that wanted to make that bull crap law about anybody that's ever been diagnosed is automatically, not eligible for to own a weapon or have a CCW.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it should definitely be, on an individual basis. It shouldn't be this blanket law that applies to everybody. And that's the thing that government likes to do. They like to just put a blanket statement to encompass anybody that could potentially fall under that umbrella. And that's not the way it should be run, in my opinion. It should be, we should have the ability to judge these people individually and make an assessment and treat them accordingly.
Well, this has been going on since as far back in documented history here, and I've got a quote here from a war correspondent in the days after World War I. I want to read you guys. It's one paragraph. It won't take long. So the war correspondent's name was Philip Gibbs, and he wrote, "Something was wrong. They put on civilian clothes again. They put on civilian clothes again and looked to their mothers and wives, very much like the young men who had gone to business in the peaceful days before August of 1914. But they had not come back the same men. Something had altered them. They were subject to sudden moods and odd tempers, fits of profound depression, alternating with restless desire for pleasure. Many were easily moved to passion, where they lost control of themselves, and many were bitter in their speech and violent in opinion and frightening. And this is now we're talking about 1918 here. This was wrote, and that's not much different than what we see these young men coming home for today. Now I've got a young man that lives down the street from me here in Scout Gunner's neighborhood, and I've literally known him since he was 14 years old. His brother and I are pretty good friends. And this kid had done, I want to say, 7 or 8 tours in those 2 theaters, Iraq and Afghanistan, as infantry. And come home and immediately got in trouble with the law. Immediately. I mean, wasn't home any time before he was in trouble with the cops. I know what causes that. Everybody listening to my voice right here on this chat knows what causes that. But he was able to turn it around. And now he, last I heard, he was road marching to bring awareness to PTSD. So he got sponsors over there, put a rock on his back, and took off walking. And God bless his fight, because that's what I mean when I say all my friends are warriors. It has nothing to do with Navy SEALs and MARSOC Marines. It means folks that are still fighting every day, folks like Scout Gunner and 504 Dirt Dart and the Daily Shooter and Jennifer Young, who are passionate about what they do, believe in what they do, and have the nerve to raise their voice up and protest. Whether you're military or not, that's the mission, that's the goal, because silence is consent, and if we don't say something, they're going to continue to put footprints on our back. Man, I am full of it tonight.
Well said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll tell you what, man. And this is just me, Jar 6. I got my own opinions. Some of you guys agree with me. Some of the guys don't agree with me. And
here it comes. He's putting fire out there.
I'm not speaking. I'm not judging, because trust me, I was a Marine for almost 12 years. I did things that I was lost. You know, what does that guy in the Bible say when Jesus gave him back his sight? I don't know what happened. The only thing I know that now I see, or however he says it.
I was once
I was blind. I was blind, and now I see.
Yeah.
That's how I feel 90% of the time. But with that being said, I mean, I being in classes, I went to a TBI class, and traumatic brain issue. Just kidding, capital IEDs and stuff and whatever. But anyways, I went to this TBI class for 2 weeks, and some of those things that this Marines and young guys get fed, given, is straight up trash. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to stop telling our young kids that they're 21, 22 years old that it's cool to drink, it's cool to get drunk, it's cool to do this, it's cool to do all these things. It's not cool. When you have PTSD and you go to combat and then you come back and, like Ted said, a bunch of 22-year-old in the Bears, and they drink a whole bottle of Jack Daniel
every night.
That's not good. That's just going to bring issues.
Every night.
Every night. And I'm telling you, I was a Marine. I know exactly what happened in the barracks.
Every night when we got back to the rear, we were drinking every single
every night.
2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and fall out for that 0430 PT, still stinking of booze from the night before.
You just smell the alcohol. If you're in the bag, you could get drunk just by running.
And we're going to run it all out on the airborne track.
Mm-hmm. So we just gotta change. We gotta change it. We can't make it seem like it's cool. You know what I'm saying? It's not cool. And I mean, I got saved just a few months before I got out. I wish I I will still be in to try to make it different. But I mean, it is how it is. This I got out, I retired, but the point that I'm trying to make is the staff that are listening, our young kids in the military, is trash. So that's about it. Let's see what else we got.
And this may be a little off topic, but I've always been curious from someone in your position, what you feel or how you feel about the recruiters that seem to be. I don't want to say preying on these kids because that's kind of a negative connotation, but I mean.
I got a lot of friends. I was never a recruiter. Usually after you do one tour, you go. It's called a B billet. You go into, I don't know what the Army call it, but you go into that billet, which it helps you to get promoted to the next rank, especially when you go to staff sergeant. That's staff sergeant is like the big jump. You go from being okay to be a main man. When you're a staff sergeant,
staff NCO.
Yeah, you're a staff NCO. You walk around like you own the place. You're in charge of 30 guys. You're the boss. So a lot of guys have to go through the B billet in order to get promoted to that rank. Nowadays, staff sergeant is not that bad because there's a lot of combat. So if you go to combat like I did, and you get decorated and you get a lot of awards and things like that, you get promoted to staff sergeant. But the point that I'm trying to make is that those guys are trying to accomplish the mission. They don't care, Stan. They will get a mission, and the mission will be as simple as, I want you to get a white guy with a college degree, and that's what they're looking for. I want you to get a Hispanic guy with this, and that's what they're looking for. A black person with this, and it goes to those details, demographics, and everything. So it's not being racist or anything. It's just how it is because they get the missions and they have to fill them. So if you make that criteria that they're looking for, and I can tell you, I have best friends that were recruiters, career recruiters, meaning that they did more than one tour as a recruiter. They would do whatever they have to do for you to enlist in the Marine Corps. They don't care.
And that's why I brought it up because I've heard that I've been exposed to that from people that I've known that have been in or went in and they weren't necessarily what they were promised and meant to anticipate wasn't exactly what they received.
Yeah. If you're asking if they'll lie to you, most likely they will. They'll do whatever they have to do to put you in. They got a mission. Their mission, and you got to think about this too. If you fail, I don't know about the Army. I'm talking about the Marine Corps. If you're a Marine with 8 years and you go into your B billet, that's 3 more years. So it's going to take you to 11. Or if you go with 4 years, you have to be in your second tour and your second duty already. You have to be a sergeant, an E5 to go into recruiting duty, or you have to be an E4 corporal picking up sergeant. But when you make it there, you're going to be an E5, a sergeant.
Same with the Air Force.
Yeah, I don't like to say E5s because that's not a rank, but people don't really understand. But you have to be a sergeant, which is an pay level E5.
NCO. Okay.
Yeah, NCO. If you fail, if you have I forgot the term that they use, but if you fail recruiting duty, you're done. You will have to get out of the military because you will no longer pick up rank. If you have one negative fitness evaluation, your evaluations that you get, you will be done. You will be passed over for promotion, and I think it's 10 years now. By the time that you hit 10 years in the Marine Corps, you will have to get out. You would not be allowed to re-enlist.
Wash out, is that the term you're looking for? If you wash out of the school?
I can't remember what it was. Successful. If you have a successful tour, when you complete the tour of 3 years. So pretty much done. If you fail, you're done. Your career is done. You will not recover. I have never met a Marine that was able to recover from not only recruiting school, drill instructor, and there's all the B billets too, embassy duty. So you have embassy duty, you have drill instructor, you have recruiter. Those are like the B billets that you could do as Marines. But yeah, they will do whatever they have to do, man, for you to enlist. If you meet that criteria, I'm telling you, they will tell you things that after you enlist, you'll be like, "But my recruiter stone told me I could do this."
Right. Well,
Yeah.
and just for the sake of conversation, what do you think that there should be an age restriction on our military? Meaning, back in the 1920s and 30s, I think that the society was different. People grew up faster. I think it was a different demographic completely versus today's society where I don't know. I mean,
I don't think it's based on maturity so much as it is physical capabilities. At 18, 19, 20 years old, they can mold them, they can train them, they can condition their bodies and train their minds. And that's, they have that. There's a reason why they run the snot out of you in boot camp and keep you up all hours of the night and keep you, chanting cadence over and over again, because it's part of your mental conditioning as well as your physical conditioning. And those new tricks ain't going to work on an old dog.
Well, the main prepper said in one of his video, and he was I think it was what, a first sergeant in the army. I mean, the guy put a lot of time.
Yeah, first sergeant in a Ranger battalion.
Yeah, he was special forces. They brainwash you, and I truly believe that.
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
When I got home from infantry school, if they had told me my mother was a communist sympathizer and they wanted me to put a bolt in her head, I'd have said, "Which gun do you want me to use?"
Yep.
I mean, because I was riding for the brand in those days, and it just is what it is. I mean, I was in the fight, and I don't know. I'm kidding, Mom.
To comment on some of what Jennifer Young has been saying, she mentioned the Air Force. I pretty much agree with everything that she's. Well, I do agree with everything that I've read that she's right when it comes to Air Force mentality. It's obviously a lot different than Danielle's. She recently just said that the recruiters pretty much don't care in the Air Force if you join or not because the Air Force has a huge demand and we don't have as much of a need for bodies. So I mean that's what it was like. I mean I'd go to the recruiter and I'm like, sign me up for the Air Force. My dad was in the Air Force, my mom's in the Air Force, my brother, and now me. They're closed. Well, why are they closed? It's in the middle of the day. I mean, like I would go nonstop. It was a chore for me to get in the Air Force. And sure enough, there's the Marine Corps right there with the door open. Hey, come on in.
Hey, it's nice in here.
I wanted to talk to you. And then the Navy called me. I don't even know how they got my number. They're making fun of the Air.
You registered for selective service. That's how they get to know.
I did something. And then another thing what she was talking about early on in the chat about how well we train or lack thereof. Not everyone is a. I'm not sure if y'all can see this. It's hard for me to read this. Yeah. I don't know if you can. Does it say marksman on it? I don't remember what it says. It's kind of scratched. But 45 out of 50 shots, with a gas mask and everything. But whatever, different positions.
Oh my gosh.
But not everybody is into guns, in the Air Force. So you kind of have to, if you want to do things like do an augmentee as security forces, which is what I did, which is their version of cops. More security than cops.
I don't know if Ted knows how to shoot though.
What's that?
I don't know if Ted knows how to shoot. I don't know what he did in the Army.
I'm learning. I'm learning.
He might be better than me. I don't know.
I watch YouTube videos all the time, and I'm buying all the cool gear, and so I go out to the range.
You watch my channel.
Exactly, that's what I do.
Hey, I think I got a video.
I said all my friends are warriors. I didn't say I was a warrior.
But like mentality, I think needs to change in the Air Force. We're seen too much as professionals rather than like warriors, and we're trying to change that. We made up a creed, but that was it. That was the extent of it. We're like, I'm a warrior. Really? Are you? Like, I know you came up with a new creed, but nothing's changed. And there's a new slideshow. There's a warrior ethos, like at the beginning of tech school and basic. But that's it. Nothing else has changed.
What was the buzzword a few years ago? Oh, in the beginning it was gear for the modern warfighter. Everybody was a warfighter back in the old days, and then Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. That in the Marine Corps, man. You're a devil dog. Your job is to kill the enemy by any means necessary. And if you complain, you are a girl. And
Okay, now look, we got 3 minutes, devil dog.
yeah. I'm just saying and what I was gonna say out of that, I wasn't really bragging, even though we know Marines are better.
All right, let's hear how cool you guys are.
I was just saying that is the problem. A lot of guys don't complain, and we need to complain. And as leaders, and I try to do this as a leader, we need to identify who has an issue. And even though if that person doesn't complain, we need to tell him, hey, look, man, you have an issue. We need to take you to see this person. A chaplain, a professional, a person, a buddy, I don't care, but you need to talk to somebody about it. And something that I used to tell before we done, I used to tell my Marines, if you want to talk to someone, it doesn't have to be me. Maybe you don't like me, but if you want to talk to this guy, I will take you to talk to that guy. But they have to talk. Because if now what's happening is that these kids are flipping out, they're killing themselves, and as leaders, we need to make sure that we identify that issue. That's the point that I was saying. All that don't complain. That's for also guys that didn't went to war. Nowadays we got a different generation. These guys are seeing combat. These guys are being hitting IEDs, hitting car bombs, small arm attack. We cannot tell those guys, hey, don't complain, because back in 1999 we didn't complain. Well, 1999 there was no war, so there was nothing to complain about it. Now it's something to complain. So we need to listen to those guys. That's what I was going with it.
Uzi 9mm just made it to the chat box. I was wondering where he was at.
Yeah, he's late.
Well, should we start over? Should we go back to concealed carry topic?
Oh.
His name reminds me of that quote from Terminator when Arnold Schwarzenegger's in the gunshot and he goes, "I'll see the Uzi 9mm." I think that's where he probably got that from, because it's spelled just like the way Arnold Schwarzenegger would have said it. But,
my favorite line is, was it, "I didn't kill him" or something? Or whatever, he shoots the kneecaps out. Or I guess that's Terminator 2.
Yeah, that's him too.
No, he'll live, I think is what he said.
Yeah, he'll live. That's right. He'll survive.
Blah.
So we want to do our Warrior of the Week Blitz this week. And so we have picked Jayhawk USMC Retired. You guys look through the chat box there. You'll see where I put it in. And I think that what we're going to blitz him with is we're going to go to his channel. We're going to find the newest video he put up, and we're going to put in there, "Wow, all my friends are warriors." And wow means Warrior of the Week. Wow, all my friends are warriors. Okay. So you go to Jayhawk USMC Retired and blitz him right now, you guys. And all of us will tag him on there. And when he responds back, say, "Hey, much love from the AMFAW channel," if you want to reply to him.
Cool. All right. We're about to be done there, Ted?
Yeah, we need to get our plugs out of the way.
All right, just last thing real quick. If you haven't checked out the Daily Shooter, I forgot to do this. Go and check him out. He's having a giveaway, 1,000 stuff giveaway. Just anything you want to say, Stone?
Oh, well, yeah, just check out my channel. Subscribe if you like it. I'm doing a big giveaway at 2,000 subs. I appreciate everybody's support who watches my channel. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Cool. If you go into YouTube and just write Stone Guy 223, it's gonna pop up, first guy there. Yep. Budget?
Yeah. Yes. Let's see here. Things coming up. Well, I have a giveaway currently in the works. So in addition to the AMFAW giveaway, so be sure to check out those videos if you haven't checked out those already. Upcoming videos, I have more gear reviews, and also I have a new compact, like bug out bag, kind of a go bag, kind of grab and go bag. And I'm also working with a nearby tactical concealed carry course that's local, and I'm going to do a special on his course and just sort of concealed carry basics. Me and my buddy are going to go and we'll be filming that in a couple, 2 or 3 weekends. So be looking for that of my first concealed carry type of video. I know Jarhead 6 has a lot of them. So
well, don't bring him on base. You may go to jail.
No, it's not. Won't be. I'll have to remember that. Now that I'll be concealed carrying everywhere I go. But
I'm concealed carry right now in my computer here. Glock 17.
Unless you count a knife. I always have a knife on me. As you see from any of my videos, always have a knife on me.
Ted, you got anything?
Yes, the AMFAW Channel 1,000 subscriber giveaway is still going strong. It's picking up steam. We've had some great folks donate stuff to the cause. Knives and magazines and a really cool backpacking stove and yeah, good stuff. I'm going to put a video out on the 15th covering the additions to the giveaway because I'm waiting for some stuff to come in. I want to cover it all at once. And it is going to be a beast come May the 1st. And so good luck to all you folks that have entered it. And then coming up very soon, we're going to do a review on this. And this, folks, is a 1959 Colt National Match. It has 4-digit serial number. This once belonged to a Marine Corps Sergeant Major, and it was used on the Marine pistol team. It was just recently handed to me as a gift from my dearest friend in the world, and I'm honored to have it. And not only was it gifted to me by my dearest friend in the world, but another very, very good friend of mine inherited it from his father, and that's where it originated from. And all of them, hardcore Mondo Marines. So very, very honored to have that piece in my collection, and I'm going to do a very thorough and comprehensive review on it pretty soon, so stay tuned for that.
Cool. All right, so the last name I got is coming off next weekend. I'm going to be out for about a week and a half. I won't be here next Tuesday, so if I don't answer to your comments or if I'm not hanging around YouTube, I wasn't captured by the government or NSA or anything like that. I'm actually spending time with the wife. We got something planned, so I won't be out. I do have like 3 or 4 videos already loaded, and they're scheduled to come out. So you're gonna see the videos coming out whenever that day hits, like Tuesdays and Saturday. Other than that, apologize for talking so much. I got a little bit pumped, and I don't know. Sometimes I get nervous and I talk too much.
Yeah, me too. Sorry.
I appreciate you still coming in, and all you guys. As always, thank you for all the new subscribers that we had and the support. You guys are freaking awesome. And like we always said, all my friends are warriors.